Fantastic. Hello, everyone, and we'll start with some quick introductions, and I'll have Gail introduce herself in a moment. So my name is Najib. I'm client coordinator for the Monash BusEd program, or as we call it, the Undergrad Industry Experience Program. So I take care of all our clients and make sure they're happy and sort out any issues that arise. And Gail?
I should probably have gone first in the sense that I would have
Sorry.
said, it's okay, Najib, you're forgiven. I actually am coordinator of the whole unit, and then I would have said Najib looks after clients, particularly looks after clients. So he's, if you work with us, you have other people, other academics that will contact you and keep in touch with you and solve any problems that you might have. Unlikely, of course, but Najib will always be there to make sure that everything is going perfectly well. And Najib is going to speak most of the time today, apart from when I cut across him, which I find it really easy to do with Zoom webinars, much easier than face-to-face. So I quite like this. Thanks, Najib.
Excellent. All right, we'll get started. And just before we start, can everyone see my screen? It says the slides show rather. Okay, fantastic. And if you can please mute yourselves, we'll have time for questions toward the end of the session. But without further ado, we will get started. Again, welcome. This is Monash BusEd program presentation where we explain to you how this thing works and what you should expect. And by the end of it, you should have everything you need to make a sound decision, whether you'd like to get involved or not. So here we go. So to begin with, for those that aren't aware, or actually before I even get into this, I don't know how much all of you know about this program, but it's where we essentially connect teams of IT students to clients, SMBs such as yourselves, and we have them build you a system of some sort to assist in business operations, whether it's adding quality of service, automating, automating labor, some more trivial tasks, just making more efficient as a whole. But we'll come back to this and how we can help in different ways with examples momentarily. But to begin with, who might you be? These are the type of people that would be suitable for the program. You could be a home run business looking to take things to the next level. Maybe you've been operating for a while, and now your clientele is just too much to handle. You may be an entrepreneur ready to launch your product or service. You need a system to assist in that. A busy business over encumbered with menial tasks. Maybe it's just a lot of paperwork, or you've been operating in an old school way for quite a bit of time, and you'd like to automate some of these things and use technology to help. Or you're just a business senior looking to learn more about how IT can be used to help. You're just not quite sure how it can help, but you're interested in finding out ways that it can. So if you fall in any of these categories, then you've come to the right place. And if you haven't, that's probably fine too. And as we explain how this program works, you might find that it's suited to your particular needs. So it's okay if you're not on this list. We'll discuss this further as we move forward. So here are different ways that we can help, or technology can help from a high level standpoint. We're not going to sit here and say, spreadsheets and flowcharts and CRMs, ERPs. Those are all ways to solve problems. So we like to just keep things simple, and we start on a high level. So you may want to showcase your work online and reach your audience, whether it's a portfolio or a shop of some sort. You might want to sell your products or services online. Products, maybe it's physical products, services, I don't know, maybe virtual meetings or sessions or coaching. You might want to streamline a laborious workflow, maybe to do with task management or things that can be automated. For example, copy pasting things and sending emails manually. These are all things that can be automated. You may want to manage or track customer information and progress. If you find that you're using an Excel sheet and it's just kind of all over the place, or you have a little diary that you're sketching or writing information in. If you want something that can help filter and quickly, you can quickly find access to information that you need, then that's something else the system can help you with. Administrate and allocate work, tasks to your employees. Sometimes there's a big team that you're operating. Maybe they're overseas, maybe they're local, and you just want to either micromanage or track how they're doing or what they're doing. Just many different ways we can help there. You may want to schedule bookings and sessions with your clients. You want to book things in, maybe in a calendar view. Maybe you want your clients to select from a calendar, or maybe even the booking sessions. You want to make sure certain people attend and they get reminders, all of which are automated. Or maybe you just want to manage materials and services. For example, your stock, moving stock. If you're in manufacturing, you may want to keep track of units and IDs, and maybe with the use of QR codes, and there's a whole lot of cool things we can do. So I'm sure all of you are kind of thinking, ooh, this is giving me a few ideas already, and that's great. And most importantly, all of this can be done so online, right? So you can access this information, or rather this technology, anytime, anywhere. So on a mobile device, on the move, as opposed to, hey, I don't know what I'm doing today because I left my calendar back home, right? Just as an example, right? So access anytime, anywhere, right? That's the beauty of online technology. Right, so yes, hopefully now your thinking juices are flowing. Now, here's what we do in a nutshell. Okay, so what we do is we give you a team of 3 to 5 IT students, Monash IT students. So they're capstone. It's a capstone unit, so it's towards the end of their degree, and it's a degree. It's a unit where they apply what they've learned. Right, that's the whole point of this unit. So they discuss with you what you want and what you need. So we don't expect you to go to them with, okay, I need this, 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 and here's how exactly I need to look. Far from it. You can just go to them with a problem and they'll help ideate. So they discuss this with you. They advise you and give you ideas. Here's what we think would work. And you're more than welcome to negotiate and discuss. And how about this? And how about that? We encourage discussions like that. They act professionally at all times. We expect you to treat them as if you're paying them, but you're not, because that's the industry experience end of the stick. More on that later. And then they develop a system for you progressively. And this is, again, something we'll come back to. A system just for you, custom made, built for, fit for purpose, the way you see fit. And they deliver your top priorities in 2 to 3 weeks, or starting from 2 to 3 weeks after first contact. And then they build it as they go throughout the semester with priorities. So they'll always start with what you need the most, followed by, so they'll start with what you should have, and then what you could have, and they build as much as possible. Now, something to point out is they'll begin in July, and I've said this a few times now, but we'll come to this in a moment. But as far as you're concerned now, this program will start in July, and you should have your system running live by the end of November. So the system ready to go, deployed, and operational. And it's also worth mentioning what you also get, and how we operate. You have a academic staff there to support them, the students, as well as yourselves. We have business mentors, tech mentors, BAs and DAs and network security specialists. So there's a lot of support going around, and we've been doing this for quite some time. Well, I haven't, but not for 30 years anyway. But yeah, 30 plus years this program has been running. Very proud of it, and over 1,000 projects. So the likelihood that we've come across a business just like yours is incredibly high, and so we can also advise in that sense. This is what we know worked for someone else, like your business, for example. So you and the students are in good hands. That's the bottom line. Okay, so now I mentioned July. It starts in July. I know if any of you are familiar with other offerings from other institutions, then you'd know that usually we run these sessions, and then within a month's time the program begins. But this time around, we've made a few changes for a number of reasons, because we're always looking to improve the experience for the students and clients. So and here's what's different. So normally you work with the students for a whole year. It's a 2-semester endeavor. Between the semesters is a break. So it's a long-term commitment. And you often you will get 3 to 4 releases during the year. But now we've kind of cut that down to 1 semester. You might be wondering, oh, how is that possible, right? So what we're doing differently is for the first semester, the students are going to work on their own. So alongside a case study, we'll kind of run them through the experience ourselves before we introduce you as clients to them. That means your projects only last one semester, but you'll still get 3 to 4 releases during the semester. And this will work. And why we're doing this is because the students will arrive more experienced when you meet them. For various reasons, which I won't get into. And as a result, the deliverables from the get-go are of higher quality. The teams have synergized, they're much more efficient, they're wasting less of your time, there's less of back and forth and learning curves, and they just hit the ground running essentially. So good news all around, right? So one semester, you can pretty much get the same amount. And it's only 12 to 4 weeks of your commitment, so there's no break as well. So this is what's different. It's worth pointing out. And it starts in July. But there's a lot to do before we get there. Now, by the end of it, what you get is a tailored solution to your business needs. Tailored. It's understated. Think any software you may have used in the past, but sometimes you might go, oh, this is redundant. Oh, why is this thing here? It's annoying. Why is this notification? So all these little bits and bobs can be completely customized to your liking. Tailored solution is always instrumental in business success, in my opinion. But depending on scope and complexity of the project, you will either get a starting point or a complete system. So different projects come with different requirements. Some are just bigger than others. Some are more complicated than others. So at the very minimum, you'll get a starting point. So that may be just all the should haves rather than the could haves, right? Or a complete system, which is should haves and could haves and everything else you may want. You'll also get full IP ownership. So it's yours to keep. You can do whatever you want with it at the end of the journey. So that's worth pointing out. And you also get system documentation that enables other developers to understand and work with your finished system. So we'll talk about risks in a moment, but we leave you with documents that essentially technical documents as well as non-technical documents that show you how to operate the system, and technical documents that will explain to other developers, here's how the system was built. So just in case you need something fixed, or not rather fixed, but amended, then that would be much easier for you to do. Now we're going to move on to risks. So now that you know what you're getting, how it works, and how we operate, these are just some risks just worth highlighting. So at the end of the day, they are students. So it's important that we set expectations right. Students develop skills at different rates, which means they might not be as successful as you wanted. You shouldn't expect not all teams are, you shouldn't expect a professional standard from every single team. But it's a learning journey, right? And that's why the teaching staff behind them to teach them. There's ups and downs, but it's always a net positive. This rarely happens, of course, but it's worth pointing out. We find that some clients maybe don't consider this too much, and they kind of get disappointed when they first meet them. But what they don't realize is over time, they just get so much better. And also this relationship between a client and team cultivates over time. And I digress. There's also no ongoing maintenance. So after the system is built, we're not, there to, for the next 5-10 years, fixing things if things break or amending things. We're kind of handed over to you. Keyword is handover, and leave you with documentation so that others can direct you. Documentation for, like I said, for you to operate it and for other technical people to use it. But we'll also direct you to professionals that can help. So we won't kind of leave you completely alone. So just things to consider. Okay. And if you have any questions about this, just, jot them down and we can come back to it at the end of the session. Some benefits, of course, the more important part, system which will assist you in growing your business. Minimal financial cost. Of course, the only thing you're paying for at this point, or rather at the end of the journey, would be hosting costs. So domain name, if you don't have it already, hosting, And that's pretty much it. But mostly it's your time that we need. And this is really important that we get this point across, is your time is paramount. If the students can't see you on a regular basis, like a week, or we say at minimum, every 2 weeks, then it'll affect the quality of the system. It'll affect the morale of the students and so much more. So mostly we need your time. The knowledge, experience, and confidence to manage your future path with IT. Once you realize here's what's possible, and we've had clients that have experienced or went through this journey once, and they came out of it with a system that didn't really improve things, but through that journey, they learned so much more about, well, this is what we've been doing wrong, and here's how we can do things differently. And sometimes they come back, right? This is the next generation of professionals. So any advice, obviously, so as business owners, there's so much you can advise and suggest and inform and help upskill the students as far as their soft skills are concerned. So we'd really appreciate that as well. Fantastic. All right. So we're coming close to the end now, believe it or not. So I'm sure some of you have some questions, but if you are interested in everything you've heard so far, and I'm sure there's many more questions you may have, this is what we'd like for you to do. Let Suzette know first, and then and once you let Suzette know, Suzette will let us know, and I'll be in contact with you to discuss the matter further. If you are interested in the program, we can talk to you over the next month. It starts in July. Sure, there's a lot of time, and in that time, we can flesh out clarity and opportunity of the endeavor. So I can sit with you and say, okay, we can do something like this or something like that. But more importantly, discuss suitability of your project goals to our requirements, because it can't be too small. Otherwise, the students will be done in a few weeks, and that's pretty much it. So that's something we need to flesh out. But obviously, there's always more that can be done, and that's where I can help. And then after that, we then record an interview before you meet the students. So that's just you and me having kind of a quick 30-minute session, a quick introduction, which we pass on to the students for them to watch before they meet you, again, to hit the ground running. And if all goes well, you'll be invited to a virtual meet and greet in June. That's where your first point of contact with the students will be. Or rather, no, it will be a session where we explain to you how the unit is run in detail. So the actual, from this day to this day, and, the agile philosophy that we utilize, and just details really. But yeah, June would be when things get started, and then you'll get to meet the students. Okay. So again, let Suzette know if there's any interest, and we will be providing a brochure that essentially encapsulates everything I've mentioned today. I'll be passing this on to Suzette, and if you'd like to keep it around, it's a digital brochure that, for you to go over, maybe share with your colleagues or friends and family. That'd be great. And that's pretty much it as far as this presentation is concerned. It was pretty quick, 24 minutes.
Can I just add a few things?
Of course, yes.
Thank you very much. That was really good. Thanks, Najib. I just wanted to say to everybody, just to remind you all, in case you didn't know, Najib actually mentioned it, but this program is part of the undergraduate information technology degree for our students, and it is part of their final year, and it's to get the students ready to go out to work. So as Najib said, we have this capstone unit, which is a work integrated learning unit, and it brings all their learning together, and you're part of it. And you're part of getting these students ready for their future. I think that's really, really important. So thank you if you do decide to come. Through your involvement, they actually put everything they've learned so far into context, and actually dealing with you, they learn far more, and they actually end up doing really well in their careers in the future. That was one thing. The second thing I wanted to mention was the time. Najib mentioned the time. Your time is important, and in the end, the more time you give and the more commitment you give, the better your system will be, the more you will get back. And if you don't see the students at all, then what you get will probably not be exactly what you want, or probably not what you want at all. And the other thing, the meet and greet, in the olden days before COVID-19, we used to have a meet and greet on site and we used to have refreshments. But these days, when we do have our meet and greet, it will be, of course, a Zoom meeting. It will be online and you'll have to BYO your refreshments, I'm afraid. That's all I wanted to say. Thanks.
Thank you, Gail. Right. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask now. You can unmute yourself or you can email us. The emails you see in front of you. All good.
Right.
Excellent.
Questions? Great. Great.
Okay, so one other thing then, you've also mentioned that when we finish, and that's the end of Monash, but with lots of documentation for you to take places for if you want future changes to your systems, and we actually now direct you to places that can help you. But sometimes in the past, actually often in the past, a lot of our clients have persuaded the students they work with to continue working, but that's completely outside of Monash, and you cannot rely on that, but that is always a possibility that one of the students you've been working with over the 12 weeks will continue to work with you for another couple of months.
Yeah, Karina.
Oh, hi, Najib. I'm actually part of the City Futures team in Work for Victoria team working with Suzette. So I've been going out to meet a lot of traders and business owners over the last couple of months, and we've been talking to them about this program. One of the questions I had is this in the scope of the project? Is it only software related or is it hardware? Can it be a hardware project as well?
Yeah, so it's mainly software related. As far as hardware is concerned, that would be a different, I think, unit entirely. I'm not quite familiar with that, but yeah, just software related.
Software related.
So
okay.
I'll elaborate on what I mean by that. So that could be a website, that could be a responsive website, and that's pretty much it. But also, when I say website, it could be a system as well. And the difference there between it is information handling. So it can either be, say, a WordPress website, but we're not using WordPress websites anymore. It could be a portfolio website, an ERP, CRMs, stuff that's responsive on mobile. We did have some students that used QR codes and barcode scanners to integrate it into the system. So it depends what you mean by hardware. For example, one client had jewelry, and she had to do it quite quickly. That quite a lot of stock, and every bit of jewelry that she imported using Alibaba, it had a barcode, and she'd scan it, and it would scan into the system. But we don't do anything with the hardware per se. But if it's a hardware that communicates information, like a scanner of some sort, or VR even, that's something we can do work with. Hopefully that answers your question.
Okay. And are these students developers or are they more systems admin related?
So it's a combination.
IT students.
It's a combination of majors. So I don't, Gail, if you want to answer that question.
Yes, our Bachelor's in Information Technology covers all areas. So they are business systems people, they're business analysts. They're actually very technical developers. We have data scientists. We have network and security specialists. It really depends of their interest when they take their degree. They actually have streams, and we actually bring all those streams together and mix them. So in the team, should be someone that can cater for sort of each of those areas.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Hi Najib and hi Gail. See you again. It's Hung from Rolling Fund.
Hello.
Yes,
so I'm still working with the students this semester, as I believe, and also looking forward to continue with the other teams. Is that still okay? Because I already work with like two student groups for 2 years. And because we trying to expand our business to overseas, and we develop the model in a way that each country will have its own website. So lots of things need to develop. Is that okay to continue like?
Yeah, so I will reach out to you and we can discuss again scope and complexity. But for everyone else, Hung is a great example of someone that's made full use of the unit. So what you can also do is that starting point I mentioned earlier. If a system is sufficiently big or sizable, you can come get as much of it done as possible, and then come for another intake.
Oh, that's
and you can keep
so
doing
good.
that.
And
Just as
the next
yeah.
question is now we are moving to the next phase of business, which is when develop a website, there's more marketing activities involved into that. Is there any way that this kind of project links to the marketing student degree?
So as as far as marketing is concerned, the extent of it would be meta descriptions and basic on-page optimization. So there's nothing like pay-per-click campaigns or other forms of digital marketing. It would essentially only have to do with the technical performance of a page and the meta descriptions. That's SEO related. But that's as far as that goes. Yeah. So we don't have marketing students involved. It's mainly development oriented.
Okay,
yeah.
And I think there's a couple of differences there between the other institutions that we collaborate with as well. You were talking about hardware. Holmes Glen IT, which is information session tomorrow afternoon. Jamie Weston there does have students who do the technical connection, the physical connections. And if you're looking to network computers, that's where we can offer some assistance there. And I've just put in the link for registering for any of the BusEd programs. And so, if you're thinking about anything at all, just put be as prolific in your brief as you like. It gives the lecturers a very good idea. The more information you can put in about what you see as your project, and then we can make a good fit for you.
Yes.
Just small question, Arif. You just mentioned that there's the other business already use technology of using the scanner to scan parcel out or inventory out and to control the inventory. Because my business has the same way of now focus on the e-commerce and selling products out, which inventory management system like that. So if, for example, if I make or develop a feature or the activity like that, it will be faster with the new group of students.
Yeah, of course. I mean, so again, what we tell our clients to do is just come to us with problems, and then we can ideate the whole suite of. I mean, that's just an example of tracking and streamlining stockpiling essentially. And so what the students did was they had this system generate barcodes and output a document that the client just printed out in a sticker print. And then she stuck those on the items. And then basically you have a barcode reader that if you scan the barcode, it inputs a number into the system. And so there's just so much you can do with that. Yeah. So the problem there would be, hey, Najib, I have, all these items, hundreds of bits and pieces. How do I keep track of them quickly? And we go, well, there's many ways you could do it. And one of which is, using the scanner.
And everybody, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
It's not just a case of you thinking, oh, if I had a scanner, it could help. It's a case of actually just telling the students what you're doing and what you're working with. And the intention is that they actually come up with ideas, just like Najib said, why don't you use scanners? Why don't you use barcodes? So you don't have to think, oh, if I had barcodes, that would be help. They should help you think in lots of different areas that you may not have thought of before. And that's because they have lots of experience in information technology and how it can help.
So, which is mean it's better just to give the problems and the team will
that's right,
kind of like idealize the solution. Yes,
exactly right. That's why I have business analysts in the teams. That's them applying what they've learned essentially. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yep.
No worries. You're most welcome. If there's any other questions, again, you've got the emails here and the digital brochure. There's contact details there as well. You can always get in touch with Suzette, and Suzette can get you in touch with us. But suppose if there's no other further questions, then
okay. Thank
excellent.
you.
Thanks,
Thank you very
everybody.
much. Thank you, Najib and
Yep.
Gail. And thank you everyone for attending. As I say, if you haven't already made an application, even though the Monash program starts in July, you're welcome to make that application online, which is the link I've added into the chat there. It's easy to find on our website under business support. Even, you know, as soon as you'd like to make application, if you feel that Monash is, has the skills that you're looking for, do that, and then we can forward those applications, and Najib and Gail will have a better heads up on what's coming for their students. So thank you again, everyone, for attending. And yes, welcome.
Thank you, Suzette, for organizing it.
No problem. This is a great way. I'm loving this. So let's keep smashing it. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for attending.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Goodbye, everyone. Have a lovely day.
Thank you.